Debit versus prepaid. Crypto cards. The hidden differences that change risk and cost. Debit and prepaid crypto cards often look identical in an app, but the funding path, protections, and fee exposure can be meaningfully different. This guide breaks down those differences in plain terms, shows the cost and risk math you can apply to any card, and ends with a checklist you can use before you commit. Why the funding model matters. Crypto cards are increasingly used for everyday spend, which makes the funding model more than a technical detail. A debit-style card taps a linked account at the moment of purchase. A prepaid-style card spends only what you loaded in advance. That single distinction drives everything else. What happens if a charge goes wrong, whether fees stack up quietly, and how quickly you can move money out if you change your mind. If you care about control, predictability, and dispute outcomes, you need to know which model you are actually using. How debit and prepaid cards differ. Debit crypto cards pull funds from a linked account at the moment of purchase, while prepaid crypto cards spend from a stored balance you load in advance. That leads to four practical differences. 1. Funding source. A debit card uses money in your checking account. A prepaid card uses money you previously loaded onto the card. Consumer.ftc.gov. 2. Access and eligibility. Prepaid cards are often available without a bank account, while debit cards are typically issued when you open a checking account. Consumer.ftc.gov. 3. Protections. Debit cards have legal protections that depend on how quickly you report problems. Prepaid protections can differ and improve when you register the card. Consumer.ftc.gov. 4. Fees. Prepaid cards can have activation, monthly, per-use, reload, ATM, or inactivity fees. Debit cards typically do not have annual fees, but you can face account or overdraft fees tied to the underlying checking account. Consumer.ftc.gov. Market benchmarking and ROI math. For crypto users, the question is not just, what is the reward rate? It is, what is my net outcome after fees and funding friction? Use this simple framework. Net value, card rewards earned, G, card fees plus funding, friction plus opportunity cost. Where card fees are explicit charges like monthly, per-use, reload, or inactivity fees, more common on prepaid cards. Consumer.ftc.gov. Funding friction is any loss you take to move value onto the card, for example, conversion costs or timing risk. Opportunity cost is the yield or utility you give up by holding funds in a prepaid balance rather than elsewhere. Example, if a prepaid card charges a monthly fee and a reload fee, your break-even spend is higher than a debit card with no monthly fee. The math is simple. Divide your total monthly fees by your effective reward rate. If the fees exceed your monthly rewards, your net return is negative, regardless of how attractive the headline rate looks. This is why the funding model matters. A prepaid balance can be useful for budgeting, but it can also become a cost center if you load funds you do not spend quickly. Common mistakes or myths. Myth 1. Prepaid is just another word for debit. Prepaid cards are a different category. You load money first, and you spend up to that loaded amount. Consumer.ftc.gov. Myth 2. All prepaid balances are FDIC insured. FDIC coverage for prepaid balances depends on specific conditions like registration and record keeping, and it applies only if the bank fails. Myth 3. Protection is the same either way. Debit cards have legal protections that depend on how quickly you report issues. Prepaid cards can have different protections, and registration matters. Consumer.ftc.gov. How this relates to crypto cards. Most crypto cards are wrapped in familiar card rails, but the funding model still drives real-world behavior. If your crypto card is prepaid, you are intentionally preloading. That gives you tighter spending control, but it can increase idle balance risk and expose you to more fee types. Consumer.ftc.gov. If your crypto card is debit, you are spending from a linked account. That can be simpler for day-to-day use, but your dispute path still depends on reporting speed. Consumer.ftc.gov. If you want predictable costs, compare fee structures first, then rewards. Use spend nodes category views like in crypto cards, cashback, to narrow the field before you chase yield. The goal is not to label one as better, but to align the card's funding model with your behavior. Frequent spenders often prefer debit-style flow, while prepaid can be useful for strict caps or travel budgets.